AITA for telling my dad's wife that her late mother's name will never be my child's. I'm currently 29 weeks pregnant with a girl. My husband and I have already chosen her name, along with two backups in case it doesn't suit her. My dad's wife lost her mother unexpectedly less than a year ago. They were extremely close and she hasn't been coping well. We've tried to be as supportive as possible, but we don't live in the same country anymore, so there's only so much we can do. Back in February, my dad and his wife visited for 10 days to celebrate our son's birthday. It was the first time we'd seen them since her mother passed and the first time they'd seen me pregnant. During dinner one night, we were talking about my pregnancy, and when my dad asked if we had any names in mind, his wife stopped us. She asked if we would consider naming our daughter after her mother. She said she had wanted to ask ever since she found out we were having a girl, and that it would mean a lot to her if we honored her mother that way. I don't think I have to justify why we wouldn't do that, but in case I do, I never liked her mother or considered either of them family. Even if I did, my husband and I don't believe in naming our kids after deceased loved ones. It's just not something we'd ever do. We were caught off guard. My dad looked a little awkward, so I think he already knew she was going to ask. I told her I was sorry, but we had already chosen the name and weren't interested in changing it. The mood dipped for a bit, but we managed to move on and enjoy the evening. She was noticeably quieter for the rest of their trip, but didn't bring it up again until their final night. Everyone was at our place when she pulled me aside and again asked us to keep her mother's memory alive by naming our daughter after her. She went on about how much her mother would have loved it and how a beautiful name like hers shouldn't go to waste. I interrupted her and made it clear that there was zero chance we would ever consider it. I told her this was never up for discussion and that for her own sake, she needed to accept it and stop bringing it up. I admit I was harsher than I intended, but at that point, I didn't think she'd get the message any other way. She barely spoke to me or my husband before they flew home the next day. My dad and I have been talking since. He agrees with our decision. He didn't like his mother-in-law much either, though he won't admit it outright, but thinks I shouldn't have been so blunt. He says she's still grieving and that I should have been more sympathetic. He insists she wouldn't mind the name we chose if we at least told her we'd consider honoring her mother. I don't think humoring her would have been the right thing to do, but I am wondering, was I too harsh?